Constance is on my short list of my favorite and the very best designed heroes in Wathcer of Realms. She is a solid tank, she is a good healer, and she is a phenomenal support. Put that all together, you have one of the very best heroes in the game, definitive S+, and really not just an amazing progression carry and vital piece of your account, but also an exceptional and an exceedingly meta endgame unit. She is phenomenal. We knew she was good back when she came last Thanksgiving, but boy, she's only gotten better and better as we've gotten new content. In this guide, by the way, guys, how the heck are you? I am Fastidious. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I have many more guides coming very soon. I'm kind of feeling like I'm on a guide kick. But in this specific guide for Constance, I'm going to focus strictly on what does her kit do, how do you take best advantage of it, and how do you build her. I'm going to show you how to gear her in 3 different ways, kind of the max inspiration DPS output way, not DPS from her, but her enabling DPS. Then the best cycling with the inspiration way, so taking advantage of her really high inspiration, her amazing support, while still letting her cycle her ults a ton and also get a lot of healing out. And then finally, building her as like a hybrid tank for inspiration, but also letting her tank content, which is actually how I use her the most when I use her in Guild Boss 2. Speaking of which, if you want to see gameplay of Constance, that will not be in this guide, because at the end of the day, she's just like a ground unit version of Dolores. She's a melee Dolores. She has the exact same range as we can see over here. You know, that classic diamond, what I always call the Dolores Constance range. So in a lot of the uses, a lot of the gameplay will be exactly the same. However, if you do have a hankering to see her in action, I will be putting out in just a couple days a full Guild Boss 2 guide featuring Constance and not in an Arbiter comp. You know, anyone can use Constance in an Arbiter comp. It's simple enough. This is going to be how the vast majority of people will use Constance. And even still, if you are running an Arbiter comp, you can still use her the same way. But it's just showing you that she does not need a Praetus to shine. She is absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to go through the kit, we're going to go through the awakenings, I'm going to gear her 3 different ways, and then I'll conclude by just hammering home the points I'm sure I will have already proven that Constance is unbelievable. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
All right, first things first, let's kick things off with the base stats. I'll pop it open over here so it's a little easier to see. She's got solid HP. It's not particularly great for a legendary tank, but just for being a good tank in general, this is what you'd expect out of like a good epic tank. So she is able to be a solid tank, and especially with endgame gear, when you build her right, she can be a pretty darn good tank once she starts healing herself and healing everyone else as well. Her defense is, again, solid but unremarkable. It's in the range of like a Torador or an Azor, these legendary tanks that don't just do tanking stuff, so Moonton penalizes them and gives them lower defense. You know, typically you'd love to see like 3,800, 3,900, 4,000, but 3,366 is still pretty darn good, and it's better than like basically every epic at least. Moving along, magic res is solid. Now, a key thing with Constance, the final thing I want to focus in on like in depth, is going to be this attack interval. It's 2.4 seconds. Why is that significant? Well, Dolores has an attack interval of 2.0 seconds. All the time people are going to be comparing Constance and Dolores, and then once Bubba Beelzebub enters the game, he will join those comparisons as well. So if we look at Constance, 2.4 seconds, that's higher than Dolores, right? She's at 2.0 seconds. However, if you read Dolores' basic attack speed cannot affect her. That is a positive in one way, because when you build Dolores, you can entirely ignore attack speed. However, obviously it's a negative because she can never be faster than a basic attack interval of 2.0 seconds. So she's kind of like cemented in to fairly slow rage cycling, since a lot of the costs towards her ult that she will build is coming from her basic attacks, which, as you'll see, that directly correlates to the rage regen based off of the basic attacks. This is what rage regen percentage scales off of, and then you earn that by doing your basic attacks, which happens at the clip dictated by the attack interval. Constance is affected by attack speed. That's really nice when it comes to her healing, so you can get her healing a lot faster and doing fun stuff, but most importantly, she's doing more basic attacks, whether those be heals or hits, and she's building a lot more rage. So Constance will ult a lot more than Dolores because it does not take much attack speed at all to get this under 2, and a good build will see her at like 1.6 seconds pretty easily. So that's a really key thing with her, and it really does make her stand above Dolores in that aspect. Final thing is going to be that number. Her rage regen based off of her basic attacks is really low. It's down at 4. Typically we see it at around 10 on like a DPS hero. That being said, Dolores' rage regen off of basic attack is only 3, so Constance still is 33% higher than Dolores', and you can get these basic attacks happening far more frequently because you're getting her attack speed higher, her attack interval lower. This actually is a key thing. I know I kind of went long on it, but it is essential when understanding the way she works. Her base attack there, mine shows up at 35.48. The final most important thing is going to be her attack. You'll see I'm on my account right now. I've got it at 35.48. That is because she is A2. I actually have my Constance at A3. We'll talk about her awakenings later, but A3 is where she takes it to an insane level and truly just becomes straight up better than Dolores for any content that using a melee inspiration unit works. But I do have an additional 300 base attack, so you'll see the standard base attack, if you get your first Constance, it's going to come in at 3248, 3248. That still is higher than Dolores, who even at A4 is still at 2662. However, Dolores' inspiration, once you have her A1, is going to be 60%. Constance's with max skill ups is 45%. In the end, it comes out to, with identical builds, Constance's inspiration is 87% the potency of Dolores's. If we're talking an A4 or an A5 Dolores, and we're talking an A0 or at least not A2 Constance. That being said, 87% as strong as the best inspiration currently in the game is very, very good. With awakenings, it gets even stronger, and she can ult far more frequently. As we'll see right now as we move into skills, her ultimate, that's where the inspiration comes. This has a cost of 900. Dolores also has 900. The difference, though, is Constance can cycle her rage faster. There is the key caveat that Dolores comes with this over here, her passive, Merciful Beauty. If we go to the second sentence, Graceful Dancing, this is her ultimate that brings the inspiration, has a 50% chance to increase the hero's rage by 30% when it ends. At A5, it's an 80% chance. That is very nice. 4/5 of the time, the ult cost is only going to be 600, not 900, because she gets 300 rage right away. However, this is inconsistent and very frustrating. Constance is steady, consistent, and she builds the rage faster. Overall, over long battles like a Guild Boss 2, you do see it as a net win for Constance. So, let's actually talk about the skills now. Starting with the talent, when being healed, the hero restores 3% rage. This effect can be triggered one time every 2 seconds. Another way that Constance is able to cycle her ult faster than Dolores. This is a pretty cool one. The key thing here is Constance herself is a healer. If she's not blocking someone all the time, she'll be healing. So if she needs to heal herself at all, if she is not at max health, she will heal herself, and she's going to trigger this every 2 seconds, like clockwork. If she is blocking, then her basic attacks will do hits, they will not heal. However, if you're using her in a situation where she's blocking, you'll have another healer, you'll still be triggering this. It's pretty darn nice, right? Over the course of 20 seconds in a battle like Guild Boss 2, you're talking 30% more rage. She ult cycles like a madwoman. The basic attack now, it's slightly confusing, but I'll explain it clearly. Grants attack-based healing to one ally in range, restoring HP equal to 80% of the base healing. This is with max skill ups on the ability. When the hero blocks enemies, she stops healing and strikes one blocked enemy, dealing 120% damage. So key thing here, if she is blocking, you're not getting these basic attack heals, which are pretty darn good. That being said, in the vast majority of ways you are going to use her, she will not be blocking. She'll just be healing and inspiring and doing all that good stuff. The ult now, super simple. She has the Dolores Constance range. She is a melee unit because she's a tank, not a healer or any other platform kind of class. She applies a 45% inspiration to other allies in range for 20 seconds. Gonna go to the basics now for anyone that does not know what inspiration is. It increases the attack proportionally to the caster's attack. So this is a buff that goes to any allies in range. It is this nice big diamond range, and whatever her attack is, whatever you built onto her post-deployment with all the buffs, all the gear, artifacts, and everything, that number times 0.45, so 45% of it, is going to be a flat attack that is added to all your allies in that range. It is super duper strong, and we all know inspiration is the king buff of this game. It is like required in so much content. She cannot apply it to herself, and she can't have Dolores apply it to her. Key caveat, but super, super potent. Talking about the ultimate, this is such a key thing to max skill if you want to use your Constance. The base here we can see is 35% inspiration, so significantly weaker, and it only lasts 15 seconds instead of 20, and it's 1100 cost. So you can improve every piece of it with the skill ups. The inspiration goes up from 35 to 45, that is way better. The skill cost goes down from 1100, which is very expensive, to a very manageable 900, and the duration is 33% longer. It goes from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. Definitely skill this up. The other things are all nice to skill up, but you do not have to do it. We'll quickly go through the passives. They're not so essential for a lot of uses for Constance. They just make her a better healer. And I do think that's underrated with Constance. She's a very good healer. Increases healing on other ground units by 30%. This is just a straight up thing. So she's like the melee Dolores, right? She heals her ground units better. It's just a thing she does, and it's nice. Additionally, her basic attack that heals allies, so when she's not blocking someone, she's doing her healing basic attacks, that will also apply self-healing with a 50% healing multiplier. So like I said previously, she's also healing herself a nice bit, and that is on top of whatever other ally she is healing from the basic. The second passive now, Faithful Renewal, when receiving damage, heals the hero with a 150% healing multiplier. When receiving AoE damage, additionally, she heals all allies in range, so a full AoE heal with a 60% healing multiplier. This effect can be triggered one time every 30 seconds. All these things are adjusted by the fact that I have her at max skill ups. It's all really good stuff for harder content, like if you're using her, for example, in the epilogue of Void Rift or using her in Guild Boss 2, this can really come in handy. It's significant amounts of healing. Finally, she is Watcher faction and also Arbiter faction, and all the Arbiters get some kind of arena mastery. She has one as well, and it's a really good one. Reduces the hero's cost in the arena by 5. I did not mention it before, but she does have a cost of 18. That is slightly more affordable and less costly than your typical legendary tank, which you'd expect to be 19. Occasionally it's 25. Shout out to Aurum and Torador and that whole bunch. But at 18, it's more akin to like an epic tank. And then obviously with this arena mastery, it goes down to 13 costs. That is super duper nice. Let's quickly go through awakenings now, and then we'll get into gearing. Her A1, it's solid for every one ally present in her range, increases her base healing multiplier. So this is kind of like the main base stat. Unfortunately, it's hidden to us, but what is driving her attack-based healing. So each ally present is going to increase that by 5%. This goes up to 15%, so up to 3 allies. In like all content, basically, unless you're doing like something in campaign as you're progressing, basically any real content as you get deeper into the game, you'll always have 3 allies in her range. So this is going to always be maxed out as a 15% boost to her healing multiplier. You do see the difference. She does heal better, for lack of a better word. The A2 is absolutely phenomenal. She's an inspiration hero. You want her attack as high as possible. So bringing her attack up almost 10%, right? It goes from like 32.55, I think it is, to 35.55. Let's actually get that exact number right now. So it goes from 32.48 to 35.48. That additional 300 is really significant, and all the gear and everything you build on her is going to scale off of that base stat. So making it significantly higher is phenomenal. And then I'm really lucky that I have her A3. She's not such a common hero, so I've been lucky to pull her 4 times. The A3 here is the best she's got by a mile. When she receives healing, her attack increases by 10% for 10 seconds. This is a post-deployment 10% attack boost. So if you build like 15,000 attack on your Constance, now it's going to go up another 1,500, and this can constantly be reset. There's no limit on this. It's not like it goes up 10% for 10 seconds and there's a cooldown of another 10 seconds or 20 seconds. You can keep the uptime on this like constant. You can keep it constant. All right, terrible pun. So the attack's going to be up 10% for 10 seconds. As long as she's healed once in those subsequent 10 seconds, it will reset and be another 10 seconds. This will stay up. And again, I know I keep saying Guild Boss 2 a lot, but in a fight like Guild Boss 2, this stays up permanently. At that point, once you have the A3 Constance, she is far stronger than Dolores, right? 45% is less than 60%, but she already has, what, over 600 more base attack. Now you've made it over 900 more with the A2, and now all of that, with all the gear and everything, you have a post-deployment boost of 10% that is maintained the entire battle. At this point, currently, she becomes the best inspiration hero in the game. Only an A2 Bubba, A2 Beelzebub, once he comes, will be able to compete with that. Super duper strong. A4 now, her Rage Regen Auto +1. +1 is very underwhelming, but this is basically just passive rage regeneration, so she'll get 1 more rage cost tick per second. It's not much, but it's certainly something. I think it's kind of laughable to have a legendary hero getting Rage Regen auto +1. Like, at least make it +2 or 3. Kind of silly. Now the A5, it's not bad, but it just does not compare to the potency of the A3 because it's really just helping her as a healer. Essentially, as we saw with her basic attacks, she's always healing on her basics unless she's blocking an enemy, then she starts hitting, so no more heals from Constance. The A5 changes that. When she's attacking enemy heroes that she's blocking, it heals an ally with a 40% healing multiplier. If we go to the basic attack now, you'll see the base one is 80% with skill ups, so it's not as strong as if she wasn't blocking someone and she was doing her full 80% heal, but she's getting the hits out and she's doing the 40% heal. It's certainly something. It's fine. I would say if you're like want to have the best Constance, A3, which I'm lucky to have, is where she's really top tier, top notch. Really, really good stuff. Let's do some gearing. All right, so let's get into some gearing. The first build I want to show you is just the equivalent of a Dolores build. It is attack to the moon. Let's make the inspiration as potent as possible. We want her attack number as high as possible, so the 45% she shares with everyone in range is also as high as possible. You're going to want her in an Invig set for this. She gives a 10% attack boost to herself and then also to one ally in range. You can control it by making sure when you drop her, there's only one ally in range. You can also, if you're not going to run Invig, the next best choice would be Glacier. And then after that, the next best choice is simply Broken Set. Honestly, the only major boost, major thing you're going to see to help her and help your team is Invig and then Glacier. After that, don't worry about it. Just get those stats to the moon, go Broken Set on the right side, mix and match as you need to. So we're going to sort by attack bonus, obviously, and then flat attack as a secondary substat. You'll see a lot of this gear, if not all of it's already going to be on Dolores, because this is a very Dolores-y build. And we got this one over here. Really nice DPS piece, but I don't really care. It's an Invig set. This piece exists to help a Dolores or a Constance, so we'll use it. Attack bonus, flat attack, nice in the purple, 437. Let's apply it. Same thing on the amulet, same situation. We're going to snag this from Dolores. This one's nice because it has some tankiness, flat defense, flat HP, and HP bonus, but those are just bonuses. Then we have, again, this is all going to be on Dolores, take my word for it. We got attack bonus with some flat attack, some HP bonus, some flat HP, and some Rage Regen. This is a piece I actually ascended, believe it or not, from Asclepius because I was really trying to min-max. And now we go over here. Top choice, obviously, is going to be Warlord. It's especially good for Constance, even better than for Dolores, because you're getting the 25% attack bonus boost. On top of that, 30 attack speed. The attack speed is going to help her, and that is nice. But again, our chief focus is just going to be attack to the moon. So on the weapon, the main stat is flat attack, so we can't hunt for that, but we will hunt for a nice attack bonus. You'll see I do have this great piece over here with 28.5% attack bonus, but that's on Silas. This is a DPS piece, so it should not be on a Constance or Dolores. So we'll go to the next best thing. It is on Dolores, 27%, pretty nice. I'll take the little tankiness as well. And then finally here, we want attack bonus and flat attack. Wouldn't you believe it? The whole set was already on Dolores. Big flat attack with 24% attack bonus. Pretty darn good. And look at that. We built a ton of attack on this chick, up to 17,672. So just did the quick math. That is going to be Constance lending all the allies in range 7,952 attack. Really, really significant. I mean, imagine in her range as like an Ardia with 27,000 attack. Boom. Now it's coming up at almost 35k. I mean, it's pretty insane, right? That's such a humongous inspiration contribution. And keep in mind, if you ever A3 like me, this would be another 1,767 attack on top of that, because she will be getting healed every 10 seconds. She will get that 10% post-deployment boost. A truly, truly beautiful thing. So that's going to be the first build. Attack to the moon, not thinking about anything except for when she's giving inspiration, we want that attack number as high as possible. Obviously, though, we can look at this and see it is suboptimal if we really want to take advantage of what makes Constance so good and in many ways better than Dolores, right? The attack speed's not high, the Rage Regen isn't high, so there's not going to be a big difference in her ult cycling because we're just not leaning into the things that make her special, that she actually can scale with attack speed and thus get a far better benefit from her Rage Regen percentage because she's getting more Rage Regen based off of those basic attacks. She obviously does have still the nice perks from her talent, but Dolores already has the graceful dancing passive, so we really want to lean into the special stuff that makes Constance Constance. So again, let's quick unequip and head back into our gear filtering. The gear set preferences are still going to be the same. We want Warlord on the left, and on the right, we want Invig, then Glacier, then just do a broken set and do the best you can. I guess I can do a shout out for Mana Spring. You know, that will come with 3 more Rage Regen auto per second, but I don't think it's worth it. I think unless you just happen to have the right Mana Spring, you should still just go for the high stats and not make that concession. So we're going to still go for attack bonus as the main stat. We're going to still go for flat attack as the secondary stat, but I'm also going to look for Rage Regen and attack speed. We want the Invig set. Let me click that on, and let's see if anything fits that. You very well might not be able to get all 3 of these subsets with an attack bonus main, especially as you're progressing through the game, so you can make concessions. Obviously, flat attack will still be the top priority. Then I would say attack speed. Then I would say Rage Regen percentage, just as I went through it. But I do have this piece over here. Not so lovely, if we're being honest, right? Like, these are pretty bad rolls, but we are checking a bunch of boxes. I'll throw it on. Let's do the same now for the amulet. You can see we're not hitting everything, but I have my priorities set. Let's see it. This one I like, right? Some nice tankiness from the HP bonus, good flat attack, and a nice little chunk of Rage Regen. Let's go now to the ring. What are we looking at? Again, we've got great tanky stuff, right? HP bonus with flat HP. We got nice flat attack and a little Rage Regen. I would like a little attack speed, and we can get it over here, plus some heal effect. Heal effect's not gonna be the top thing for her. Obviously, she is a healer, but healing kind of is like her second or third job. But when I do see that heal effect sub show up when I want it, I will take it. So this piece will pretty happily take from Fasti. And look at that. We already got, before her attack speed was 30 additional, now it's 102 additional. So she's already up to 202. And her Rage Regen percentage is already up to 27.5. Now let's move over here to Warlord. Obviously, with the weapon, again, we can't hunt for a substat of flat attack because the main stat is flat attack. But we can definitely hunt for attack bonus with a nice attack speed sub. So looks like we're stealing from Fasti again. This is a beautiful piece for Constance, right? We got big attack bonus, big attack speed, 1 tick under gold. I think gold must kick in at 88 just looking at this. And then really nice HP bonus and flat HP. We'll throw that on. And then finally, we're going to do attack bonus, flat attack, and then attack speed, just in case you have like a nice ancient lying around. You can see I don't have that. A great option here would be to snag this 26.5% from Nyx. Attack bonus, and then a little attack speed. We also have an option here on Comet with some tankiness. First, though, I do want to just check and see what we're cooking with the attack bonus, then the flat attack. This is going to be the piece we wore before. Taking a peek at the attack speed, taking a peek at the attack. I actually think I'm willing to give up this 534 of the attack. Go for that nice piece that was on Nyx, get some more attack speed, so she's healing more, so she's generating rage more, and yet making a slight concession. Still, though, the attack bonus is higher, so it's not like giving up the full 534. It's probably giving up, I don't know what that 2% comes out to, maybe a 60, so maybe we're giving up more like 470. Let's throw this on, and you can see it's still going to be a really nice build. Let's go to those total attributes. Before, she was at like 17 point, what did I have? 17.672, 17,672 attack. Now she's only down, right? Only less than 1,000, just less than 1,000, 16,684. Still very, very high. If I plug that into our formula, 45% of that will be 7,507, so it's still really sizable chunk of flat attack she's giving to all her allies in range, but she's going to be giving it a lot more. So this is how you typically should build her. Don't go for that straight Dolores build. Look at that attack interval, all the way down to 1.4 seconds. So nearly, she'll be doing 3 attacks for every 2 Dolores attacks. And when she does those attacks, the Rage Regen is a lot higher. It's going to be 27.5%. Add in your Pantheon. It's pretty significant, pretty good stuff. So each basic attack, each basic heal will give 5.1 Rage, as opposed to the base of 4. It'll be a little higher once you include your Pantheon stuff. It's pretty darn nice, and you're still getting a huge attack total. The final build, this one I don't have to build from scratch, sorry if you wanted to see me do it, is going to be the way I use Constance for Guild Boss 2. This is going to be get her in a Glacier set, because you want to lean hard into tankiness, but still end up with a really nice chunk of attack. So what do I mean by that? Let's go to my plans and let's find my Semra build for Constance. Here it is. And you can see, I'm not going straight attack at all. I'm leaning pretty heavy into HP, even a little defense. That's because I'm using this build where Constance is my main tank. Oh, and on top of that, she's giving very significant inspiration. So why do I say that? You might look at these numbers and be like, wow, the attack is so much lower. Look at that, it's down to 11,389 when we were just looking at 16,600 or 17,600. Well, I do say that because look how high that HP is, and we're running her in a Glacier set. So what does a Glacier set do? She gains an attack bonus equal to 6% of max HP when she's deployed. So if we look at this max HP number, it's over 80,000, but I'm just gonna say 80,000 because I'm not that good at doing math in my head, but 6% of 80,000, you're talking like 4,800 attack. 4,800 on top of this. So yeah, it's not the numbers we're looking at before, but we're talking, what is this? 11,389. So it's going to go up to 12,189 and then to 4,000. So it's going to be 16,189. 16,189. So we're only like 500 worse than the second build that I just did. And on top of that, she's tanky as hell. Look at all that HP, look at all that defense, and even still, we got a little bit of attack speed on her. It's not crazy, but it's something, and we got a little rage regen percentage. This is the kind of build if you do want to run her as a tank. If we go through these pieces over here, you'll see HP bonus, nice defense, because she's still a tank, and when you want to tank in endgame content, it's not just HP. When it comes to like Guild Boss 2 or Gear Raid 4, Gear Dungeon 1, Gear Raid 5, Gear Dungeon 2, you actually need a significant chunk of defense. I would always shoot for at least 8k. You can see I'm just about there here. This is the best I could do. When I do make a 120k push, I'll have to find a way to remedy this, but it's still pretty darn solid. And yeah, I'm hunting for all those tanky stats, and then on top of that, all that nice attack. And then finally, maybe a little attack speed or rage regen. So we got HP bonus, defense bonus, flat HP. But the flat HP and the HP bonus are still helping our attack because it's Glacier. Then a nice attack bonus and solid attack speed. We go over here. This one, I had to go attack bonus. Then we got some defense bonus, HP bonus, and rage regen. Finally, HP bonus, attack bonus, a little attack speed, some defense bonus, and some flat HP. You're kind of getting the picture. This is the hardest build to do because you're having to do a lot of things. But when you run her this way, all of a sudden you've gotten a good tank, a very good healer, and a phenomenal support. And it's just all working together beautifully. You got HP bonus, attack bonus, flat attack, defense bonus, quite a nice piece. You can see now instead of Warlord, we're running Immortal Warrior. I'm going for that additional 25% HP and 10% defense. Then finally the weapon, I didn't get any attack here, but I got pure tankage with a really nice 21% attack bonus roll. So as you guys can see, I really, really like Constance. She's able to wear a lot of hats, or you can focus on just one. Basically, I'd say when you first get her, you don't need to care about anything except for I want as much inspiration as possible, the first build that we did. Then I'd say pretty soon after, once you start getting better Glacier gear or certainly better Invid gear, when you're moving into that like late game build, get some attack speed on her, get some rage regen percentage, and that will take her from just being like a slightly worse ground version of Dolores to about as good as Dolores. You know, she's a little bit more expensive when it comes to deployment costs, and the inspiration's a little lower, but once you get with that second build, the attack speed going, the rage regen going, she will ult more than Dolores, and it will at worst even out, and you will see it leading to her allowing you to have a higher damage output than Dolores. Not for all content, but for content where, you know, the map lines up, the placements line up. And then finally, if you're going to do something like this build we're looking at right now, the last one we did together, you're going to have her tanking for a Guild Boss 2, for example, or maybe you use her as a tank that's also providing inspiration in, let's say, Gear Raid 5. That could be an option. Certainly in Gear Raid 4, Gear Dungeon 1, that is an option. Then you're going to have to lean into all these stats. She gets stat hungry, but it is pretty darn good. And you'll see even in this build, I've completely laid off of heal effect. That's because the heals are always going to basically be supplemental, at least with the endgame stuff. Significant, but supplemental. So heal effect, it's like the cherry on top if you can get it. Clearly, it's something I'm still working towards. But yeah, she's a really, really fun hero to use. And hopefully you guys, if you are going to go for her, you pull like 4 divines and you get 4 copies and you get her A3, because the A3 is pretty darn wild. Let me know if you like this type of guide, guys. I know I focused a lot more on the gearing than on the gameplay, but I did think it was this kind of video that would help people the most. I really love myself some Constance, as you can see. I hope now you guys do too. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to see a lot more guides like this and keep up with all my stuff, subscribe to the channel, give the video a big thumbs up. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. Share with your mother. I've been Fastidious, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.